So if you're watching this video, more than likely you have an altcoin portfolio just like me and you're wondering when is the best time to sell. And guys, there's some specific charts like Bitcoin, Ethereum, Bitcoin dominance, and the total 3 chart that let you know exactly how liquidity shifts and when we saw altcoin season start in previous cycles. And in today's video, I want to walk you guys through a few of those charts when we saw liquidity move into altcoins and out of Bitcoin, and exactly what you need to be anticipating if you plan to sell in crazy profit. Overall though, if you're new to my channel, check out the rest of my content. I keep you guys updated on the day-to-day events, price action around Bitcoin, Ethereum, altcoins, how liquidity is shifting, and exactly what you need to be aware of. Guys, the markets have been moving really crazy. Everyone's calling for altcoin season, and we're pretty much on the cusp of it. But this is where you need to lock in, understand how liquidity shifted in previous cycles, and focus on the right charts so that you make the right moves. On this channel, I keep you guys updated with all the day-to-day information, all the news events, updates that we get. So make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe. But today I want to give you guys just some simple information to show you how liquidity shifts, which is this chart right here, guys. This little image just showing how liquidity moves from fiat into big assets like Bitcoin, then Ethereum, and then altcoins, and then more on. So with all that being said, guys, let's go ahead and jump straight into the charts and what you need to be looking at. So guys, right now the crypto markets are trading sideways due to the economic events that are happening, globally, with the war with Iran and Israel, the Fed not making any rate cuts, and pretty much overall the Trump administration having a lot of different things going on with tariffs. But with all that being said, a lot of altcoin investors are wondering how to read the markets and exactly when to take profits on their investments. And today I have a few charts that are pulled up, guys. Bitcoin, of course, to follow exactly the price action with the biggest asset in the markets, then Ethereum, which is what a lot of altcoins are built off of, the Ethereum chain. So when Ethereum isn't performing, altcoins are not going to be performing as well. Then we look at the total 3 chart to see how liquidity is moving into all other assets as opposed to Bitcoin and Ethereum. And then we look at Bitcoin dominance to show us exactly how liquidity is moving into Bitcoin as opposed to altcoins and Ethereum and the rest of the market. So with all that being said, let's jump into the first point that I want to show you guys, that is pretty much going to really point to the fact when liquidity shifted back in 2021. So let me go ahead and just jump straight into the Bitcoin dominance chart. So you guys can see in 2021 when Bitcoin dominance peaked out, it peaked out at around 72%. And the reason I focus on the peak, guys, is this is the moment that liquidity just started to shift and pour back into Ethereum and altcoins. Now, if we look at the total 3 chart, you can see this is exactly the same time that we started seeing Bitcoin dominance start to crash down. So if we go to Bitcoin dominance, you can see everything started at around the 1st of January 2021, and everything crashed down very significantly all the way in May 19th of 2021. Now, if we look at the total 3 chart, you can also see, guys, altcoins started to rally stupid hard at the beginning of January, and then from there had a peak somewhat in May of 2021. Then we saw a gradual decrease, a return of a lot of liquidity, and that's whenever we can see Bitcoin dominance had a little bit of a recovery. And then from there, moving forward into that August period, guys, into November, this is when the total 3 chart started running very significantly, and from there had its final time in the sun before returning a lot of its gains. And currently that is what we're seeing. But the biggest thing to focus on is how Bitcoin dominance has been rallying as opposed to previous cycles. So you can see that previously, guys, Bitcoin dominance moved in a much different way. Why is this? Because each cycle is different. Now in today, how everything is moving, we have big corporations, we have nations, countries investing into Bitcoin, into crypto. We have the talks of a strategic reserve for the United States. There's a lot of different things taking place. So the cycle is completely different. History doesn't repeat, it rhymes. So this is where you got to have an understanding on exactly what you need to be focused on, and exactly what's going to tell you when liquidity shifts. So what is the percentage for Bitcoin dominance where everyone thinks it's going to peak and then from there do exactly what it did in 2021 and pretty much pour all that liquidity back into the total 3 chart and for altcoins so that we can see altcoin season start? When is it going to be happening? This is what nobody truly knows, because technically this cycle is much more different. A lot of people are anticipating the 72-73% region. Others believe that we might be crashing before that time. And even me, I have a perspective that we might even rally a little bit higher than the previous peaks for Bitcoin dominance. But This is a basic understanding of how liquidity moves. And until Bitcoin dominance starts crashing down super hard, we're not going to see altcoin season start. It's just pretty much basic, guys, to understand how liquidity moves. This is how crypto money moves in general. This is how people make a lot of gains. This is why a lot of people get swept out of the markets, because they don't anticipate how liquidity shifts, and they also do not understand how to position themselves. So now this is a lot of good information, you know, keeping up with the total 3 chart, Bitcoin dominance, USDT dominance, a few other charts, and I show you guys all this on the daily on this YouTube channel, which is why I do not plan on missing altcoin season. You can see there's a few charts with CryptoCon talking about how with Bitcoin, you know, rallying super hard, alt season is a critical part of the Bitcoin cycle. Bottom line, if alt season is missing, then there has been no bull run, which means the cycle is not over and alt season is still coming. In this chart, guys, I walked you guys through this yesterday, which is why you need to make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe, and stay tuned, because I had drop bangers every freaking day. But if you look, you can see in previous cycles when Bitcoin dominance crashed down very significantly and initiated altcoin season back in 2017, back in 2021, and now we are waiting for it to happen in 2025. Now, everyone has different variables in terms of when they think, you know, everything is going to start crashing down for Bitcoin dominance. But at the end of the day, we won't know until it actually happens. On this channel, though, I'm going to keep up with it on the freaking daily so you guys are aware of what's going on. We're also seeing perspectives around Ethereum and how Ethereum looks like it's pretty much on a similar setup than what we've seen before. Dead cat bounce, final retest. We've seen this before. ETH 2021 playbook is repeating. And if we look at ETH, guys, back in 2021, you can see the moves that it had when it had a gradual decrease. And then from there, it had a significant run before returning a decent amount of the gains, and then from there rallying super hard again, moving into the end of 2021. And this is where it correlates to the total 3 chart, as well as overall Bitcoin dominance, and when everything was crashing down quite significantly. So this is super important, guys, not only to keep up with the day-to-day information with the price action around Ethereum and Bitcoin, and also, you know, charts like the total 3 chart and Bitcoin dominance. All this stuff is super vital, guys, and it's really easy to get caught up in all the headlines and what everybody is saying, but this is a very simple way in terms of understanding how liquidity shifts and when altcoin season is going to start. So swiping everything to the side, guys, today was a very simple video, just walking you guys through a few simple charts that can show you how liquidity shifts. We saw this happen in previous cycles, so if you guys just watch the chart, zoom out a little bit and not get caught up in the hourly time frame, then you can start to see, guys, that we have a little bit of time before altcoin season starts. Is it a month? Is it 2 months? Is it 4 to 6 months? No one truly knows. We're only basing everything off of previous price zones that we saw and percentages with Bitcoin dominance, the total 3 chart, and overall assets like Bitcoin and Ethereum. But on this channel, guys, this is where I keep you guys updated with the day-to-day information so that you can understand when to make the moves that you need to make. And on this channel, I'm going to keep dropping day-to-day videos. So if you're new to my channel, check out the rest of my content. I keep you guys updated with the price action on Bitcoin, Ethereum, altcoins, how liquidity is shifting, and practically everything you need to be aware of. I like to drop simple videos like this, giving you just, you know, a simple way to look at the market in a long-term perspective, as opposed to the macro day-to-day events that I drop on this channel. I think it's super important to keep up with all that information, but it's also great to zoom out and understand exactly what it's going to look like when you need to take profits. This is super important, guys. So if you got any value out of this video, make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe. Let me know where you're at with your journey. Let me know when you think Bitcoin dominance is going to peak out. Do you think it's at 72% zone? Do you have a specific variable that you think is going to be causing altcoin season? All that, guys, drop it down in the comments. I'm going to keep dropping day-to-day content. I drop daily content every day, so stay tuned, and hopefully I catch you guys tomorrow. Do not capitulate your bags, dollar cost average, and let's get them crazy gains. Peace.